Morning, Wednesday the 24th of May. So a week down, a week further along, and they're planted and they're just starting to look like they've started to settle in. Greening more so in the tips. That's the Dahlias, the giants. So far no losses. I haven't had a water since I watered them in, because I had half a gallon per plant. They're probably due a drink today, which will probably be a feed. But so far, nothing down to the slugs. The pellets have done their job. Nothing down to root rot, because some of the plants were a bit young. I've just got the remaining Casper. They're a bit small, but they should be okay. Just want to get them in. And there are some of the remaining Oakwood Goldcrest to go in today. Put the hoe round, give them a feed, and that's done for the day. See you next week. It's Wednesday the 31st of May. Just got the last few, there's 8 there, of Oakwood to go in these holes. My head. So that's the last in. The rest of them have been in 2 weeks now, and just starting to get that I've been planted look, good colour, starting to just produce some new growth in the ground and look like they've got their roots in. Those are Dahlias, that's Bryn and Aggie, Louis, with a rogue Valentine tuber growing out the ground there. That's the rest of the Oakwood. See this side, I've got the miniatures, so that's Jill. Those 3 rows are Mary's. Softer Gleams, Skimsdale Jane, and the Poms, Gertler and Hallmark. So I'll be doing the first stops today, certainly on the miniatures, and the Dines. We get their first stop. I like to get them in at least a week before I stop them, get some root growth, and then I'll cut the reds off. I'll probably get a feed today and a spray, just wind eases down a little bit. So let's just talk about stopping. Pinching out, whatever you want to call it, it's pretty much all the same thing. Ideally, you're not going to wait until the plant produces a flower bud before you pinch it out. Now, depending on whether you're growing this for show or for the garden, the process is the same, the purpose is different. For me, I'm trying to get this plant, and this is a plant of Mary's Germander, and we're the first week of June, so it's just been planted a week or so. And I want this plant to flower with about 14 or 16 shoots at flowering time at the end of August. So doing that, growing this singly and allowing this just to grow up and flower won't do that. We can see that we've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, and the growing tip, about 5 pairs of leaves on there. So if we remove the growing tip at this point, at the top, we'll get 10 flowers of 10 shoots. That's fine. If you're growing for the garden, growing for cut flower, that is probably all you need to do. So you can remove that up there. I'll just use finger and thumb. So we've got this part of the plant removed, and we've left 1, 2, 3, 4 shoots. That's going to produce 8 flowering shoots that will probably flower somewhere around, I would say, the end of July. From a show point of view, I actually want 14, 16 shoots. I'm not going to achieve that by just pinching the growing tip out once. So this time of the year in June, I'm going to force the plant to give me flowering shoots that I can then pinch out or stop again. And that will be done for me around about the end of the first week of July, beginning of the second week of July, to produce the 14-16 flowering shoots that I need for shows starting from the end of August. So I'm not going to leave all 8 on there. I don't need 8 shoots to stop again, because that'll give me generally 4 on each, so it's going to give me 24. It's too many. So I'm just going to take out these upper shoots, which the higher up the plant the earlier they will naturally flower, so they will probably try and bud before 5 weeks time, when I want to actually do this process again. So that's pinching out for both purposes, being for garden or show. It's just why you do it and when you do it that makes a difference. Wednesday the 7th of June. So the plants have been in now 3 weeks and they've just had their 3rd feed. Wednesday day is dinner day. The giants are starting to really put their arms out now. The miniatures, they've all had the first stop, that was last week. Ready for a second stop, very end of June, probably beginning of July for most. And the poms. Week 3. Sunday 11th of June, so I was fed on Wednesday. It's been hot all week, as it has been since I've been in the ground, so been minimum to sort of 25 up to 28 this week, and will be again today. But Sunday mornings, the next water, they've held off quite fine from Wednesday to Sunday, twice a week. At this stage should be enough. The water gets in the ground if you give them half a gallon of water each, and you've got the wells around the plants, so it doesn't just run off where the plants are. They're starting to get away from the second stops now with this sort of warmth on them, and the giants are filling out nicely. There's a few weeds are popping up, but just run the hoe through the surface and think about getting a mulch down in the next 2 weeks really. Hopefully we get some rain first. I don't like mulching dry ground. That's the poms, just about getting away now. See you Wednesday. Morning, Wednesday the 14th of June. A little bit more detail this time. So the plants have been in for 5 weeks. Those that have been stopped already, i.e. ready for a double stop, they've been done for 2 weeks. These Goldcrest have only been in 3 weeks, so they're not as chunky as the rest, but that's fine. I'm going to try and grow those on a single stop because they were only small plants. The Winholm have been stopped now for 2 weeks, and you can see we're making quite reasonable growth from that stop now. For some plants that I think were probably the weakest set of Dahlias I've ever planted. Those there, 52 of them. They seem to have managed to beef up a bit and getting better. And I won't cut those back, it won't be a stop, it will be a cut back, but I won't do that. Probably may do half in the very last week of June, and the other half a week or so later, just to spread the 2 beds out. This is a bed that's half and half, Aggie White and Louis White. As you can see, let me get above them on the foot. They're pretty chunky now. Most have still got their growing tips in, and I'll probably look to start removing those either the end of this week or into next week. It does take a while from stopping to flowering, but I won't rush. Even those like this are fine, but there is still some small shoots down there, and they won't take long to get away once that top comes out. Others that budded early You should see I already just took it out. We've got the brakes all the way there, so I'll either leave them and knock them back, which is unlikely that I'll take that course of action. It'd be more likely for me to cut them back and effectively double stop them. So that row's Aggie, that row's Bryn, and then that bed there is all Aggie. See some buds up there, not been here since Sunday. And this bed is all Louis White. And again, quite nice chunky plants. Up here we've got, this is the remainder of the Goldcrest. These have been stopped, they were slightly older plants, and at the end there is AC Casper. So you can see I've got quite a lot of, call it weed. These are weeds. Albeit dahlias, but that's a fairway spur that's growing out from the ground. That's probably Canoa Valentine, so I'll sort them out today and just pull them out. Onto the miniatures. This is Rycroft Jill. Again, all these have had their first stops. As you can see, there's shoots coming away. So hopefully another week or so there'll be a bit more to stop on those, but they were smaller plants to start with, so they didn't get away from that stop so quickly as they normally do. This is the Marys, and they're well away. They'll be alright. They'll probably be thinking about producing buds in those laterals soon, but they get the same timings as the Dianes. So there's 36 each of Marys and Jill there. One or two of the softer Gleam haven't really flown off like I'd like that one. That could be it, waiting for it to get some roots, but it seems to be alright, or well enough. So there's 36 softer Gleam. And then likewise with the I'm going to remember it, Skelmersdale Jane. That's our old bed there, shooting away, and another row there, and there's one or two that were late bloomers or late growers. And then this is a bed of Poms. So this is the Girdler. Again, I've sort of held off that second stop, and I will do as long as I can, and I'll give them one good second stop, so a cut back to get a fair amount of growth on them, which being what they are, will come much earlier than I naturally want the others to. But that's fine, because then I can start controlling how many final shoots I have on the plant by pinching those buds back. The earlier they're produced, or the least buds or more shoots that I require on the plant, the harder it'll get pinched back. If I want to push the plant out a bit more, then I'll just go a bit lighter as the buds come. So that's the Girdler Twilight, it's 26, and then the 26 Hallmark in there. There's the odd plant that hasn't enjoyed itself, but I think by now I'm not going to mess about changing plants. I've probably still got more chance than any other plants that I've got spare. And we have got, again, that's probably either Marigold or a Go American growing up next to the Girdler, so I'll lock him out today. That's where we're at. Today, what time is it? 6:10 in the morning. Just want to give everything a spray before the sun comes up. It's the second spray since it's been in the ground. then I'll feed and water. It's part and parcel of the same thing, so they all get half a gallon of feed each. I've only been watering twice a week, so it's normally a Wednesday and either a Saturday or Sunday, and that seems to have held them well enough. We've been getting 26-degree minimum really for the last few weeks, up to 28 and 30-degree temperatures during the day, and we haven't had a spot of rain since April, I think. Maybe the very beginning of May, so they certainly haven't had any rain since these have been in the ground for the 5 weeks that they have. It'd be nice, talking about possible thunderstorms again come Sunday, but they'll have to be watered again before then. That's where we're at. That's it. It's now about 3 o'clock. Got all the canes in on this plot and most on the other. Obviously, I've let the old canes where the bottoms are broken off. They go in the oak with Goldcrest beds, because you're lucky if they get anywhere near the tops of them sticks. And then the rest are 4-foot canes, all put in, as you can see, at an angle out from the plant. Try and keep the front ones vertical, but angling out between the plants. Otherwise you just use up your walking pathway, especially when you're rattling up and down there with two gallon watering cans all the time. So they're all in. Had a good hoe and a weed. It's easier without the sticks in the ground. They've all been fed and watered and sprayed. So we got to about 30 degrees today. These last few to do, I just didn't want to untie another bundle. These are all done. So I had 1 can between 3 plants, so hope that works out. 1/3 of 2 gallons in the ponds. Ta-da.